All right, class. Today we're going to finish chapter 5 and we'll briefly start chapter 6. So you can think about this is the class for June 26. So in the last class, we basically started talking about time value of money, and we actually finished present value, future values, and how to convert cash flows to present values and future values. And if you can remember, we start with these basic equations and we learn future value and present value. Today, we're going to talk about rate and number of periods. So basically, as I said, beginning of the last class, it's better to rely more on the financial calculator because life will be easy. If you rely on the regular calculator, life will be struggling or challenging, okay? So basically, in today's class for chapter 5, we'll talk about discount rate and number of periods. I don't want to go over like how this equation is normalized and converted to this form. Rather, let's go over some examples and let's learn, if we have the financial calculator, how can we easily find out for the given cash flows, what should be the appropriate interest rate or what should be the total number of periods for that problem. So let's start with this problem first. The discount rate, example 1. So let's say you're looking at an investment that will pay $1,200 in 5 years. If you invest $1,000 today, what is the implied rate of interest? So let's copy this information first, okay? So basically, present value, future value, and PMT is always 0, right? So now what do you have to find? We have to find, so if we can collect those information from the problem, plug in the financial calculator, and then find the R. So investment gonna pay $1,200 in future value, positive. That means you receive the investment money, okay? You receive $1,200. You invest 1,000 negative. In 5 years, calculate R. First job, clear, okay? Okay, N is 5, okay? And then present value is 1,000. Payment is 0. Future value 1,200. Compute. That's it. It's 3.7137%. Okay. If you can remember from the last class, financial calculator basically decide 5% is 5. So they actually consider 5% as 5. So this is 3.7137%. Okay. 3.7137%. Now just keep doing it. Keep doing it. Should be easy. To double your money in 6 years, and it's 6. It's trying to say that if you make $1 of investment today, that's gonna be $2 in 6 years, right? Payment is 0. What is the R, right? Makes sense. You can do this way, that's gonna give you the same results. You can also do this way, that's gonna give you the same results. Okay, same result. You can try either way around. Okay. So let's go back, second, clear. So N is 6, present value 10,000, payment 0, future value 20,000. So how can you interpret 12.2462%? 12.2462%. Just to tell you one thing, in finance, we always prefer 4 decimal points after the decimal, okay? 4 decimal points. So convert your financial calculator into 4 decimal points. If you go through my videos, you will learn how to convert financial calculator to 4 decimal points. Come here, example 3. You have a 1-year-old son and you want to provide 5,000 in 17 years towards his college education. So basically now he's 1 year, but after 17 years from today, you want to put 75,000. Now you want to invest 5,000. What interest you're going to give you 75,000 17 years from today? Okay. So basically now he's 1, but you want to give him the money 17 years from today. Basically when he's going to be turned 18. Okay. So present value you have 5,000. You want to give him 75,000. 17 years, payment 0, everything else the same. So here, 17 here, present value 5,000, payment 0, 5,000. 17.2686%. So if you make 5,000 investment today, and if you keep earning 17.2686%, end of 17 years, you should have a future value of 75,000. That's the thing. Number of same thing. So we're talking about discount rate. We did not move to number of periods. So you have offered 2 options: invest 500 today, receive 600 in 5 years, and you can invest 500 today, paying 4%. What is implied interest rate for option 1, and which investment should you choose? So let's say in terms of risk, both are low risk. Okay, let's say, because putting money in a bank is very low risk investments. So let's say we are assuming both projects have similar risk, similar low risk pattern. Okay, so the second project is giving you 4% return. Okay, for the first project, let's clear everything. 500 investment today, payment 0, 600 future value, 5 years, compute rate 3.7137%. So the first option is offering you 3.7137% of return. On the other hand, second option is offering you 4% return. Let's just assume both are very low risk, okay? Because going forward, we're gonna learn it's not the only return we should consider when making an investment decision. It is also be the risk. So we have to take care about return and risk at the same time to make a decision. So let's just assume both are low risk. This option is offering 3.7%. This is offering 4%. Go with option B. That's it. Finding the total number of periods. Again, starting with the same basic formula. I'm not going over how we convert the formula. It's basically you need all this information. Plug in the function calculator, calculate T, which is N for the function calculator. So let's go here again. Let's clear everything. So let's clear everything. You want to purchase a new car that could cost 20,000. If you can invest at 10% per year and currently have 15,000, how long will it be before you have enough money to pay cash for the car? So basically it is asking you right now you need to invest, or you have $15,000 which you can invest. The rate of return is 10%. Future value you need 20,000. And how long you need to reach that period, okay? So we need to find out N. So rate is 10%. Then value, assume payment 0. Future value 20,000. Compute, and this is telling you 3 years, 3.01 years. So 3 years, and you can say a month and maybe something, a fraction of month. So this is you need to make this money there. So just practice this problem with similarly, okay? Suppose you want to buy a new house, you currently have 15,000. You figured out you need to have 10% down payment plus additional 5% of the loan amount for closing cost. assume the type of house you want will cost about 15,000 and you can earn 7.5% per year. How long will it be before you have enough money for the down payment and closing cost? So I don't know whether you have experienced any home buying process or not, but let me explain you the process. Before you jump on to this problem, when you buy any home, okay, so there is a house price. Let's say 100,000. And depending on terms and condition of the loan, you have to make different amount of down payment. Some lender gonna tell you, give me 3%, I'll give you the loan. Some lender gonna tell you you have to do 5%, you have to do 10%, you have to get 20% so that I can give you the loan. Depending on terms and conditions, there is a down payment portion. So down payment is typically on the loan value. So sometimes you can say that I will take the entire house price as a loan. So you can say, I'll make 10% down payment on the house price, so that basically it can be changing, okay? I'm just trying to tell you the standards. It can be changing. House price times 10%. So that case, 10% on 100,000 is 10,000. Now, closing cost, what is that? Closing cost is all about, is a fee of purchasing the house. But down payment is not a fee. So basically, if you pay 10% down for a 100,000 house price, you need to borrow 90,000. So down payment reduces your loan value, but closing cost is like a fee. It's just out-of-pocket fee for transaction. So you can think about when you buy a car, they call you tag and tax, right? Tag and tax. So this is closing cost is basically the same thing for tag and tax for the car. So closing cost is basically a fee. So depending on the state where you are buying, depending on are you first time buyer or second time buyer, closing costs vary depending on the loan value or house price. In general, closing costs vary on the house price, not loan value. But here it's trying to say on the loan value. So basically here it's loan value times 0.05. For this hypothetical example, you're making a loan of 90,000 times 0.05. So basically that should be something 4,500. I'm just giving us a hypothetical example. Now let's go to the real example. Okay. House price 150,000 from here. You are paying 10% down. 10% down. So down payment is always about the house price. So that means 15,000 down. Here they're trying to tell you 5% of the loan amount for closing cost. This is basically depending on this problem, but I'm telling you, I know the housing process, the real estate, like buy and sell process. Closing cost is also on your house price. Depending on state, depending on first time, second time, third time buyer, this could vary from 3 to 6%, but that's on house price or loan value. But as they're saying on loan value, they just follow this 3%. So basically, house price 150, down payment 15, so your loan value gonna be 135, 5%. So 135, 5% is 6,750. So that case, you're out of pocket. You need when you need this money, you need this money at the time of buying the house, the day when you want to buy the house. Okay. So the problem is telling you right now you have $15,000, but you want to buy a house which require out of pocket of $21,750. So how long you need, if you can invest 15,000 at 7.5% per year, how long you need to buy the house so that you have that much of cash in your pocket, okay? So similar process. Rate is 7.5, present value 15,000, payment is 0, future value 21750, and then compute. And so 5.1377 years. So you need 5.1377 years to buy the house. Make sense? So similarly, solve this problem. It's gonna be easy again. I think the answer should be 3.13 years. 3.13, okay? So basically 500 present value, 600 future value, rate is 6%, then calculate, and 3.13 years. Now, in the last class, I actually talked about, we can also do the problem in Excel, right? And I actually shown you future value formula for this, how to do it in Excel for the future value, right? So now if you come here, these are the formula. PV is the present value, rate for the interest rate, N par is for the number of period. So it's all the same thing. Rate means periodic rate, number of periods, payment, present value, future value is basically future value. So if you use these formulas on the Excel, you will get the same result, same answer, like the way you were working on financial calculator. Only difference, telling you. In financial calculator, type in the absolute number for rate. In Excel, make sure you type in correctly, because in financial calculator, 7% means 7, in Excel, 7% means 0.07. So that's the only difference, but both gonna give you same results. We are done with chapter 5, okay? So in the last class, then today we finished chapter 5. Now let's go over about the homework. So first problem of the homework is simple versus compound interest. In the last class, we learned the difference between simple versus compound interest is, on simple interest, you only earn interest on initial investments. On compound interest, you earn interest on both initial investment and already earned interest. That's the difference. State the present value relationship. We learn it from the slide. So when the time is more, when the interest rate is more, everything held constant, present value should be lower. Negative relationship. These are the two problems we did it on the last class. If you still watch the videos on the slide, I solved these two problems. So far, we're good on these 4 problems that's coming from chapter 5. Now let's start chapter 6. So before chapter 6, I want to give you some heads up again. So basically, in chapter 5, what do we learn? In chapter 5, we learned for one cash flow, today or future. One cash flow today or future, how can we convert them into present value or future value, right? In reality, you could have multiple cash flows. And then you need to convert them into present value or future values. So let's give you some heads up. Let's copy this timeline again, okay? So let's copy this timeline again, and now let me explain what I'm trying to tell you. So far we learned, let's say we have one cash flow here. Now, if you want to time or find the present future value of this cash flow, we have to compound 1 year if you want to get the future value at here, end of year 1. We need to compound this value for 2 years if you want to find the future value here, end of year 2, right? So you can use the same formula here. This formula, right? What if I'm telling you that you want to invest in a project that's going to give you cash flow 1,000 today, and that's going to give you cash flow 1,000 end of year 1, what is the future value? In that case, this cash flow, okay, in that case, your first cash flow, let's say at 5%, will be compounded for 2 years. Okay. And your second cash flow will be compounded for 1 year. So basically you can see you're receiving this cash flow today. So this cash flow will grow 1 year, 1 year, 2 year. You receive this cash flow here, this cash flow will grow for 1 year, right? So the future value of these two cash flows, first cash flow compounded 2 years, second cash flow compounded 1 year, and then sum them up. That is your future value for these two cash flows. Makes sense? So now the thing is that we're talking about multiple cash flow perspective. What you can do in financial calculator, you can compound this cash flow 2 years, or you find the cash flow for this one, find the future value for this one, and sum them up. Or by hand or by regular calculator, use the formula, compound this 2 year, compound this 1 year, then sum them up. So there's the future value thing, okay? Similarly, let's say for present value, you have one cash flow end of year one cash flow end of year two. I'm telling you, find the present value for these two cash flows. Now, this cash flow will be discounted 1 year, this cash flow will be discounted 2 years, and then sum them up. Use the regular calculator, use the financial calculator, use Excel, doesn't matter. So now we are moving on how to calculate present value or future value of multiple cash flows. That's it. Idea is similar, just add them together, okay? So small pictures, add them, make big pictures. That's it. Now let's move on here, chapter 6. Let's say you think you will be able to deposit $4,000 end of each of the next 3 years. That means end of year one, year two, year three. Bank account gonna pay 8%. Currently you have 7,000. That means at year zero, today you have 7,000. How much will you have in 3 years? How much will you have in 4 years? Make sense? So right now you have 7,000, end of year one, you can deposit 4,000, end of year two, you can deposit 4,000, end of year three, you can deposit 4,000. Now, how much you should have end of year three, end of year four? So basically, if you look carefully, the 7,000 you have today can grow for 3 years. Your project has a timeline of 3 years. So we are talking about this project first. Your project have a timeline of 3 years. So right now you have 7,000 at year zero that can grow to year 1, 2, 3, 3 years. 7,000 times 1.0 to the power 3. End of year one, you can deposit 4,000 that can grow 2 years. End of year two, you can deposit 4,000 that can grow 1 year. End of year three, you can deposit 4,000, but that's not gonna grow because the project is ending there. It's not gonna grow anymore. So sum of this, that's the total value in 3 years. Make sense? Now, if we talk about how much will you have in 4 years, there are 2 ways you can do. Now, this will go 4 years, this will go 3 years, this will go 2, this will go 1. Make sense? Or we already have calculated what is the value of these cash flows at end of year 3. We know the future value of this cash flows end of year 3. Just grow this complete cash flow, aggregated cash flow for 1 year. Compound this cash flow for 1 year. So that should be the value at 4. That's it. Make sense? So similar thing. I should encourage you, just go through this slide. Similar thing. Now for the present value thing, discount back. So this graph is explaining you the present value thing. Let's say if you're getting $200 end of year 1, 402, 603, 408 here. Discount this cash flow 1 year, this cash flow 2 year, this cash flow 3 year, this cash flow 4 year at the appropriate rate. So here is the example. You're offered an investment that will pay you 200 in 1 year, 400 year 2, 6 at 3, 8 at 4. 12% is the appropriate rate. So 200 divided by 1.1 to the power 1, 400 divided by 1.1 to the power 2, and then sum them up. That's it. So that's basically how to deal with present value and future value when you have multiple cash flows. Now, one of the things I'm telling you, if you look carefully, these cash flows are not the same numbers. This is called uneven cash flows. Because in the next class, we'll talk about when you have even cash flows in even time frequency, that means 200, 200, 200, how to deal with those, okay? These are uneven cash flows. Even if you look here, uneven cash flows, okay? So far we learned if you have multiple uneven cash flows, how to find present value and future values, okay? And for this class, we are not gonna solve this problem. We are not gonna solve this problem. We're gonna keep it aside as is, because going forward, we're gonna talk about NPV-IRR. So basically we're gonna do the same problems around that time. So just forget, there is no slides after that, okay? Forget about this slide, this slide, this slide, and this slide. That's it. So in the next class, we start talking about annuities and perpetuities and different types of loans, okay? So the next 2 classes, we're gonna finish chapter 6. So that's all for all today. We finished chapter 5, talk about briefly chapter 6. We talk about some problems in homework 2 and talk about functional calculator, Excel, and all of these. And also recommend go and watch those 2 videos I posted regarding functional calculator. So see you on the next class. Goodbye.